Welcome to my YouTube channel. Here, there are so many occasions in our life that in which way we have to travel. So whenever the poet is reaching at a junction in which two roads are diverged, that is the two roads in our life, we may have certain confusions, but if we select one road, that will be the right one. That is only for a difference. That is what poet says in this poem. The road not taken. Robert Lee Frost, or Robert Frost, was born on 26th March 1874 and he passed away on 29th January 1963. Robert Frost was an American poet. His work was initially published in England before it was published in America. Known for his realistic depictions of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech, Frost frequently wrote about settings from rural life in New England in the early 20th century, using them to examine complex social and philosophical themes. Two roads diverged in a low wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as war that passing there had warned them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. That means our speaker is describing a fork in the road. That is, the woods are yellow, which means that it is probably fall and the leaves are turning colors. Here diverged is just another word for split. There is a fork in the road. That is the meaning. Next line is, and sorry, I could not travel both, and be one traveller, long I stood. The speaker wants to go down both roads at once, but since it is impossible to walk down two roads at once, he has to choose one road. The speaker is sorry, he can't travel both roads, suggesting regret. Because of the impossibility of traveling both roads, the speaker stands there for a long time trying to choose which path he is going to take. Next line, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Here the speaker is thinking hard about his choice He is staring down, trying to see where it goes, but he can only see up to the first bend, where the undergrowth, the small plants of the woods, blocks his view. Then took the other as just as fair. Shall go through the meaning is that so after all this build-up about one road, which he's looked down for a long time, the speaker takes the other path which is just as pretty. So he was choosing between two roads or futures that were different but potentially equally good. The next line, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted via. The speaker still seems pretty uncertain when he explains that this second path is better. It's only perhaps better. Then the speaker tells us why the path is better. It seems like it hasn't been walked on very much because it is grassy and doesn't look worn. Wanted in this instance means lacked. Next line, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. Here the speaker of this poem really can't seem to make up his mind. Just when we think we have got a declaration about which path is better, he changes his mind and admits that maybe they were equal after all. Here, the usage of the as for that, it's a usage that refers to the path being less worn. And the other usage, that is a passing there, that refers to other travelers that may have worn the paths down. When we go through the next stanza, and both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. The meaning is that the paths are equally covered with leaves which haven't been turned black by steps crushing them because it is still early in the morning. Look at the next line. Oh, I kept the first for another day. That is a very important one. Here the meaning is that the speaker seems like he is already regretting his decision. He is rationalizing his choice of path by saying he will come back to the one he missed sometime later. Look at the next line, that is, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Here the speaker realizes that his hopes to come back and try the other paths may be unreasonable. He knows how way leads on to way, how one reed can lead to another. He knows how one road can lead to another and then another, until you end up very far from where you started. Because of this, he doesn't think he will ever be able to come back and take that other path. That is, as much as he wishes he could. Here we return to the metaphorical meaning of the poem. In any life decision, we can hedge our bets by thinking we can always come back. Try a different option later. But sometimes our decision take us to other decisions, and yet still others, it is impossible for us to retrace our steps and arrive back at that original decision. It is like deciding which college to go to. I can always transfer. A high school senior might think. What he thinks? He thinks many things, but then once the decision is made and freshman year has passed, the reality is that switching schools is a lot more complicated than it seems. And it is hard to start completely over somewhere else. Look at the next stanza. I shall be telling this with a sigh, some year ages hence. Now we jump forward in time. We don't know exactly when, but we know that it is ages and ages hence. So we are probably talking years. We know that this story is important because the speaker will still be telling it many years later. He'll be telling it with a sigh, though, which is interesting because sighs can be happy of relief or sad or regret. We don't know what kind of sigh this is. This choice is probably going to be important for the speaker's future, but we don't know if he is going to be happy about it or not. Then the point also say this in the second round that the two roads diverged in a wood, and I cannot travel both. This line is a repetition of the first line of the poem. This repetition helps to bring the poem to a conclusion. What is the conclusion? It reminds us what is important in the poem, the concept of choosing between two different paths. Then we get the hesitation of and I and the dash. This let us know that whatever the speaker is about to say, next is important. I took the one less traveled by. That is also important one. Take this as a serious matter. In this line, the speaker sums up his story and tells us that he took the road less traveled by. With the hesitation in the line before, this declaration could be triumphant or regretful. And last line shows that, and that has made all the difference. At first glance, it seems that this line is triumphant. The narrator took the path that no one else did, and that is what has made the difference in his life that made him successful. But he doesn't say that it made him successful. An optimistic reader wants the line to be read positively, but it could be read either way. A difference could either mean success or utter failure. The speaker of this poem could be saying that his choice made all the difference while he is surrounded by his grandchildren, by a fire in a cozy little house. Or he could be saying it to be the wind while walking alone on the streets. At this point, he doesn't know.